The content of this podcast is provided for general informational purposes only and is not intended as, nor should it be considered a substitute for professional medical advice.
Sweaty and pissed. Menopause makes me sweaty and pissed.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
It's Sweaty and Pissed, Menopause and More with Leanne Morgan and
Karen Nickell, nurse practitioner. What are you these days, Leanne?
I'm pretty much a comedian.
Good.
Yeah. So I'm just going and a-doing, and I've been performing a little.
How's that been?
Good. I was scared to death, and I wasn't. I was scared of, was I going to be able to remember my act, and did I remember how to do comedy? But it all came back. And people are so precious that I said when I went on stage, I don't know what I'm saying. I don't even know what's coming out of my mouth. And people threw their purse in there, so everything was fine. But I went to Huntsville, Alabama and Birmingham, Alabama. And I got to tell you that both of those clubs, I thought did a beautiful job and were very safe. And everybody came in, had to wear a mask. You got to your table. You were only seated with your party. You were socially distanced from other people. And then when the show was over, they told which tables to get up and leave so that everybody didn't get up at the same time.
That's smart.
And I was in a green room, and we had on masks, and then I jumped up on stage, and I got off stage, and I was never in contact with anybody.
That's great.
Yeah, I didn't have a meet and greet or anything like that.
Yeah.
And, I thought that I did not feel unsafe.
Well, good. That's good. What do you feel like you got your mojo back?
I feel like I got a little mojo back, and I don't know, when I'm going to be able to. I mean, I have some dates, but they're smaller venues, and we're not doing any big venues. It's just not safe,
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to strategically, do some things that were on the calendar, but not big theaters.
Right.
That's all going to have to be pushed to 2021.
Mm-hmm.
But the small venue, I mean, I started, I worried about it, and then I thought, there are more people at TJ Maxx and Lowe's, And there's people, there's all kinds of things happening where I thought, in my audience, I've got smart people in my demographic are educated, people that are responsible, and they just, middle-aged women are not making out with somebody, twerking on somebody. Everybody is
behaving.
Very responsible. Yeah, and they take individual responsibility. And it was just lovely. I can't even tell you how precious it was.
Oh.
And I went to hotels, and they were spotless clean.
Oh,
there wasn't hardly, you could tell that they didn't have a lot of guests there, and they didn't have people come in and clean while I was there. I told them, I just need towels or whatever. And so they didn't come in.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought they did a beautiful job. And I really didn't feel at risk anywhere. I got to go shopping. I went to a Soma. I bought panties. Everybody had on masks. There was a sale. I felt normal again. I did say to this little girl in Huntsville, Alabama that works at the Soma, I said, "Oh my gosh, I feel kind of normal." I mean, we had on masks and big things up, big bats of sanitizer, but I said, there's a buy one get one half off gown. I feel alive. And she said, "It's never going to get better." And I thought, "Oh, you're not fun, Diane," or whatever her name was. I thought, "Oh, just ring up my panties and let me get out of here. I'm getting a gown, and good luck, girl." But anyway, other than that, I mean, it was really nice to get out and about, and I do feel like everybody, was safe. And
Good.
So I've got some casinos coming up in November, and a couple of things, but it's all I'm doing what I'm having to do. Like in Alabama, I had to do 7 shows to make up for that many
two or
tickets.
3. Yeah, right.
So instead of doing 3 shows, I had to do 7.
Mm-hmm.
But it helped me get back in the groove. And
Well, yeah. I think that's
and-
good.
yeah, so that all went great. And then I had to go. My sister was in town. She on her way. I didn't know she was coming, but my nephew was on his way to Wake Forest for his freshman year. Bless his
Nice.
heart,
I
and
know
and hydroplaned and had a horrible wreck.
Oh, no.
But he's fine. But so they came to pick up his car. It got ready today. It was not totaled. It looked like it should have been totaled. It was a terrible. A log went through the front window, and I mean, like, took off some of his hair. That's how close it was. So she popped in, and that's why I was a little late today, because I was helping them. They spent the night and helping them get the car, because he had the wreck somewhere around Crossville, Tennessee. So anyway, we were at Costco and had to get him some things this morning, and Costco was packed to the gill.
Yikes.
With everybody had on masks, but I'm telling you, that place is run like a top.
Yeah.
And everybody's socially distancing. So anyway, and I saw little elderly people with a cane with a trach, and I thought, if they're at the Costco, I mean, I just wonder if people are like, you know what, I gotta live, I gotta get, but they all had on masks, and everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, that's good. We're all going to have to figure out how to do this. So now's a good time.
And my sister was saying that where they live, that people are not wearing masks. And and Chuck and I were sitting there talking to them, and I said, in Knoxville, Tennessee, I got to say, everywhere I've been, people have got on a mask, and you can't go in to somewhere if you don't have a mask on. I just do not see a bunch of people not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I can't speak to that so much because I pretty much don't go anywhere. I mean, I just go home and work. So,
but at the doctor's office, people are coming in there. They're not going, screw you, Karen Nickell. I'm not wearing a freaking,
Well, they do complain heartily, some of my patients, but they have to wear a mask. So they do wear a mask, but I get complaints quite a bit about that. So,
why, they're in menopause and they feel like they're suffocating?
Well, some of it I think is symptomatic. I mean, it feels like they're suffocating. But I think some of it is a more defiant attitude. But everybody's different, and I just encourage them, even if they're defiant and say they're suffocating, to keep wearing a mask, because I think that's what's going to help us slow this thing down. So, and it has been slowing in the last 4 weeks here.
Has it, Karen Nickell?
Mm-hmm. We've had a decline.
Please tell us about that, Karen. I think everybody would love to hear that. Is that some good news?
That is
my
good
goodness.
news. Yeah. So, and I'm talking about, East Tennessee and Knox County specifically. So you can obviously go to your health department website, wherever you live, to check out the numbers and check to see if the numbers are flattening or increasing, decreasing. But the last 4 weeks here, it's been decreasing. So that's good.
That's wonderful.
But it takes everybody working like a team to make this happen. So hopefully people will be able to continue to wear their masks and follow some rules, even though we don't want to. It's going to be the best thing for us to get better sooner. So
my niece and nephew just went back to college, and my sister, they were talking about all the challenges that universities have.
Yes. My husband.
Those little frontal lobes aren't developed yet.
I know.
And so everybody's twerking and doing, and they're kids, and they, I'm sure a lot of them are trying to do the right thing, but they are children and they're at college, and
yeah, it's a difficult mix of things to make it work. It's hard to have young people who want to socialize together on campus and tell them they can't socialize. And so it's a difficult task on both the administrative part and the students part,
Mm-hmm.
So, we're feeling our way through it for sure. Last week, I talked to the listeners about some supplements that they could take just to help in a supportive manner during time of COVID, just to, support the immune system so they're less likely to get sick. And if they get sick, less likely to have severe symptoms. So, and I know you marched right on out and got you some stuff that we talked about.
Yes. Okay. Well, I ordered this online because I was hearing about zinc, and I don't know if I'm, years ago you told me I didn't have enough vitamin D, and so I've been on vitamin D, and I have been good about my vitamin D, during this whole COVID, and I try to tell people, what's your vitamin D levels? So I did order the zinc, but I have not taken it yet because I thought, was that a knee-jerk thing? And then you were talking about how we needed zinc, but this is serving size. This is a tincture or whatever, And this is from Vimergy, Vimergy.
Mm-hmm.
But it says a serving size is 52 to 56 drops, and I thought, oh. And so a big drop would be, and so, I don't know the medical thing, but it's, okay, let me see. It's 7.5 milligrams. Is that serving? 7.5 milligrams.
In 50 drops?
In 50 drops. So is that not good?
Well, I would say probably, since you're supposed to dose it under your tongue, correct?
Oh, let me say, Karen, I forgot this. Because really I just got this down this morning. 2 droppers, then swallow. 2 dropperfuls, yuck. Take 1 to 2 times daily. So that is 4. So that is, Lord, I'd have to take 200 drops. So that would be 14. So that would be 4 times 7.5. Is that still not enough?
Well, you're in the 30 milligram range, so that's good. If we can do 30 to 50 milligrams, that's good. So that's a good learning for the listeners to. So check what the dosage is to get the milligrams you want, because you may not want to take 4 dropperfuls of a tincture every day.
Right.
But it is always good to look at serving size and the milligrams in that serving size, so you know how many caps or how many tablets or how many gummies or how many drops of the supplement you're going to need.
Okay, so you were saying how much do you really want people to take of zinc?
I would say like 30 to 50 milligrams a day.
Okay.
In the clinical trials, when they're giving zinc to patients who already have COVID, I believe they're using 75 milligrams for treatment.
Okay. All right, so 30 to 50 if you don't have COVID at home.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, of course, I don't have a pen that doesn't work. In this home, I bet there are 500 ink pens, and we are all scrambling, and they go, it doesn't work. 30 to 50 milligrams a day.
Yeah. And for all of you out there who also don't have a pen that works, you can go to our website, sweatyandpissed.com, and at the bottom are blog articles that I put on there. And there is a blog for supplements to take as supportive measures during COVID-19. So that's on there, and it has, all the milligram dosing recommendations and the links to a couple products, zinc products, that you can check out. So, yeah, so zinc is good. And maybe next time you can find a gummy or a capsule. So you
Yeah,
don't have
these
to
are this next thing is a gummy,
Oh, good.
and it's from Vita5, and it's gummy vitamins, dietary supplement, elderberry for immunity. And I don't know if this is what. Okay, so it's got vitamin C, 90 milligrams,
Mm-hmm.
and it's got zinc, 7.5 milligrams, in 2 gummies,
Uh-huh.
and then it has elderberry, black elderberry, 100 milligrams.
Okay, that's good. So that gives you a little zinc and a little vitamin C. And those are all supplements that I talked about last week. Doing zinc, elderberry, vitamin C, vitamin D, as you mentioned, that you're already taking. So, and the gummies that I mentioned were the Gaia Herb gummies.
For
So-
the
for
the-
the elderberry. Yeah.
for the elderberry.
Yeah. So,
And the vitamin C, I don't remember the dosage, but what was your vitamin C for people?
500 milligrams twice daily. Assuming that some people have GI side effects from taking vitamin C. So if that high dosing is bothersome from a GI standpoint, obviously you can lower that dose. Maybe take 250 twice a day or 500 twice a day if it tends to bother your stomach.
What, when you're saying bother stomach, what are we talking about?
Some people get, some stomach pain and maybe some irritable bowel type symptoms like
Okay.
loose
So
stools
Okay, so elderberry, you said the Gaia
Mm-hmm.
gummies, and you like for how many a day? I mean, what's the milligram a day?
I can't remember the milligram exactly because they at Gaia they have gummies and caps and a liquid, so they all have different dosing. But it's 2 gummies a day.
2 gummies of elderberry. Okay.
And the cap is 1 cap twice a day.
Okay.
So yeah, so I think those are helpful. I've just had a lot of patients asking me what supplements, what can I be doing just to stay healthy during this time.
Mhm.
And then the other thing I talked about too is, in addition to the supplements, again, doing things like what we were talking about earlier, wearing a mask, hand washing, social distancing. Of course, those are also important things to keep you safe. So, but in terms of treatment for outpatient people with COVID, again, looking at zinc and vitamin C. And if someone's having respiratory problems, sometimes a prescription steroid inhaler will help. Again, we are the information we have for hydroxychloroquine is pretty mixed, but I know there are providers who are prescribing hydroxychloroquine for people who have COVID. But we don't have a lot of supportive data to show that significantly reduces the symptoms of COVID. But I also wanted to tell people if they have COVID, and I think some of the trials maybe are even people who don't have COVID, but there are clinical trials going on all around the country. And you can go to I think it's clinic-trials.org. I'll have to check. I'll check that, double check that website. But probably we could just Google clinical trials for COVID and come to that website. But anyway, they list all the different trials going on in all the different states, all over the world. And there are 11 trials actually happening in this area.
Oh.
Yeah. So especially if you're maybe if you're a COVID patient who is having residual symptoms, there probably is a clinical trial for something like that if you want to be part of a clinical trial. But they're using different medications like hydroxychloroquine. They're looking at remdesivir. So there's several. I'm sure there's a trial in your area, unless you're really in a remote place. So, but it could be a good thing to check out if you're having symptoms following an infection, or you actually have the infection. Because I'm sure they're wanting to enroll as many people as they can.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and there are a lot of people who do have residual symptoms. I think the average is about 25% of people have residual symptoms at 21 days after infection. And it's lower, obviously, and the percentage is lower in younger people, and it's something like 47% in people over 50. 47% of people have continued symptoms of some sort, even at 21 days post-infection.
I was going to ask you, when they say, when you get COVID
Mm-hmm.
and you have it, do you need to keep getting tested? When you get a negative test, then are you considered okay? I mean, like, you can't give it to people.
Right. Well, the rules and guidelines on that are sort of changing, because they're seeing some people who are their acute infection is clearly resolved, but they're still testing positive. So typically we look for 2 negative tests, and you have to be at least 2 weeks out from infection, from signs of infection, before going back to work, or, getting back to your normal COVID life, normal COVID life. But so 2 negative tests and 2 weeks without symptoms is typically the recommendation. But we do have people who keep testing positive even though they're well.
So even if they're testing positive, that doesn't mean they're going to give it to someone.
Well, it's hard to know when you're just looking at positive and negative what the amount of viral shedding is that person has. So if somebody's testing positive, they're apparently still shedding some of the virus. So that's the tricky thing. We just don't have enough information about the testing and about how much viral shedding is happening during the acute illness and following the illness. I mean, the virus, like mononucleosis, you can have viral shedding of mono for up to a year after infection. But we know that now because we've been able to observe and study mono for so many years. But this is so new that we just don't have all that data, which is another reason, again, back to that mask wearing thing, because even when people have had it and are feeling well, it's possible they could still be shedding the virus. We just don't know. So,
but you feel good about does a virus weaken over time?
Typically, yeah.
So is that what everybody's hoping in the medical?
Oh, you mean, I guess I need to clarify what you're asking. So do you mean the virus within the viral shedding in somebody's body lessen over time? Or do you mean the virus itself? The
virus itself. What does a virus do? Does a virus weaken over time? Does it?
Typically, and this has happened with COVID, is it mutates so that it can spread more efficiently. So, when I think we talked about before, the Wuhan strain was quite deadly, and that strain went to Italy, and that's why so many people were dying in Italy, and then it mutated during the time that it was in Italy and has come over to the US, and the mutation allowed the virus to be less deadly but more contagious. So the virus doesn't want to kill its host. It wants to live. So I'm making it sound like, it's thinking through all this, but the way that the way that viruses work is mutating so that they remain viable. So the virus wants you to live. It wants to have living hosts. So now the virus is more contagious, but less deadly. So I would say over time, that's what is likely to happen with this virus. So it's not really weaker.
So like the 1918 Spanish flu, how long did that take before it just kind of, I know nobody ever had a vaccine to that and all that, but where people got out of the mask and got, when you got past that point. Do you know about the 1918 flu, how long that took? Well,
I know that I think it was 2005, they were able to do the genomic mapping on the 1918 flu virus, the H1N1 strain. And so they were able to formulate a vaccine for that. But again, probably over time, and I don't have any information to back this up, but it's, over time it became less deadly for the same reason that the COVID virus has become less deadly, or will, and has. We have far more people getting sick and lower percentage of people dying from the disease.
Yeah, because I may have said this on this podcast before, but when I think of 1918 flu and people go talking about COVID, they go, "We're never going to be all right. It's never going to be all right." I think, well, the 1918 flu happened, and then in the 20s they were drinking gin out of a bathtub, so something got all right. It's surely to goodness we're going to get past this.
Yeah. Well, we have a lot more science now, obviously, and a lot more medical knowledge and scientific knowledge to get us through this process. It'll be good at some point. At some point, it'll be good, but we just have to be patient.
That was my beagle snoring.
I heard that.
Augie took a big breath. So sorry. They're with me. They're like my little body parts. They are with me. Oh, my baby. And he has a backward sneeze. I think he might be backward sneezing, about to have a big... They are butt to butt, laying across his bed. And they're the only thing keeping me going during the COVID. I can tell you that. I just sit and kiss on these dogs until my grandbaby comes. Okay. So, Augie, my darling, oh man, he'll be 12 or 13. I don't even know. He's white in the face. He's old thing. And now he falls asleep and his tongue just is constantly out. But he's so yummy and he needs his mommy. And Chuck just sits and begs him to love him. And he does love Chuck. Yeah. But Chuck will go, "Come here to Daddy, come here to Daddy, come here to Daddy." And he just ignores him and looks at me like, "Look, I want you because you're fun." Okay. What else were we going to talk about, my darling? So, about the COVID.
Yes.
I'm anxious to see. You and I both love football.
Mm-hmm.
And I know people think, what? You too? She's an opera singer. and a nurse practitioner, and you're a comedian, and I'm getting just like my little mama Lucille. I love a football game, and I want to know what in the world. I want to know all their personal stories. Okay, so he's snoring. So Austin P played Central Arkansas, and my sister went to Austin P. Austin P was right down the road from where I was raised, and that's a small Division I school in the OVC. And those little boys on that, there was no crowd. They looked like high school boys, but they were darling. And I got to watch some of it. I was at my mom and dad's. And so, the University of Tennessee that you and I love are talking about having 25% capacity.
Right.
During the ball games.
Correct. That's still the plan, apparently.
And so, I don't know if people know this, but Karen's husband, Andy, is a voice professor at the University of Tennessee and sings our national anthem. So he's like, she's our female Elvis and he's our male Elvis at the University of Tennessee. Because whoever sings the, like everybody wants to get in with Karen and her to be their provider and they can't, God love them. And then, so she's that Elvis. And then he is... Whoever sings the national anthem at the University of Tennessee, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So will he get to sing, or what are they thinking? Are they going to phone that in? What are they going to do?
Well, it's interesting that you should ask, because he just found this out today, that they'll have a pep band in the stands. So no one's allowed on the field. So they'll have a pep band in the stands, and he will not be singing the anthem.
He won't.
No. And this was his last year. He's for our listeners. My husband's retiring at the end of this academic school year, and he just found out. So this would have been his last season.
Oh.
Anyway, he sung it for 20 years, I think, and so he will not be singing the anthem this year. An unceremonious ending to an anthem career, but
this old mean, stupid COVID.
Yep.
So, but they are going to have the pep. So, people that don't know anything about the University of Tennessee, we have an unbelievable band, the Southland Marching Band, that's unbelievable. Mm-hmm. And they are not going to get to go. And those little children work like Trojans.
Oh, gosh, they do. 350 kids.
Oh. So they're not going to be able to do their thing. But so somebody's going to get chosen to be in the pep band.
Correct.
To go, that's going to be competitive. Fight to the death.
I don't know how they're going to work that. Maybe they'll rotate. I don't know. So,
well, I'm glad there's going to be a pet. I love a pet band.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just see how that goes. They're just going to take it week by week and just see what happens. Let the chips fall where they may, and then
absolutely
make a decision.
Yeah, it's week by week.
Well, I was anxious to hear if any of the little Austin P boys that play Central Arkansas, if any of them have tested positive since that game.
And no,
and I haven't been able to Google it because I've been busy with my mom and dad, and I haven't, I just haven't had time to look. But it'll be interesting to see.
Yep, but football's pretty important around here, so I'm sure they'll do everything they can to keep it going.
Well, and my sister and her husband were talking about Wake Forest, and they're going to have football, but they're not going to have, the students can't go. Nobody can go.
Yeah.
But they were just talking about the financial, how football holds up these schools. A lot of, and it's just awful.
It's big money.
It's nobody's fault. It's just a terrible situation that we're going to get through, It's just a national pandemic that happens every 100 years. Who would have thought?
Yes. So, well, hopefully we'll see. Hopefully the student athletes will stay safe, and the administration will make wise decisions. So we can only hope.
We need to tell people to get their flu shot, don't we, Karen?
Yes.
Nickell?
Yeah, and I've been telling people to get their flu vaccine by the end of September. So you're getting it on a little bit on the earlier side.
Okay, and I heard that Walgreens and CVS and people or you can get them for free there.
Oh, a lot of them, get them free. Or Well, I think they file your insurance if you have insurance, but they also, many places are giving gift cards for a flu shot. I know I've had patients who have, 4 and 5 kids, and they drag them all in there. They all get a $10 gift card. So
you think people should get it and get it quickly this year?
Yeah.
And that should help with I heard a man say twindemic on TV, and I thought, no, Bill, no. Satan, get behind me. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear about the twindemic, Oh, Lord. You hear one person say on TV, on the Today Show, you hear one person say, you know what? We're all using better hygiene.
Yep.
Hopefully people get a flu shot. Everybody's wearing masks. We're washing hands.
Yeah.
Maybe it won't be bad.
I think that's going to be true. I think we'll probably see fewer cases because of what we're doing to prevent COVID. I really do.
Oh, well, I'm so glad to hear you say that.
Yeah.
And then you hear another man say on the Today Show, this is it. It's gonna be a booger, and it's gonna get worse. And and you just think, stop it, you Debbie Downer. Let's have some hope. Mercy.
Yeah.
Can we just talk about body oil again? Can we talk about a nice place setting? Can we talk about a good, salmon recipe?
Well, let's
with
do
a good salsa. How about that?
Let's do that next episode.
Recipes?
Yeah,
or
whatever.
good body oil?
Something other than COVID.
Sickness?
And illness and pandemics and death.
And let me tell you that my sister, I told her a long time ago, you got to get the Patch MD. If you don't want to swallow a bunch of pills, and she goes, I don't even know what you're talking about. I said, I've told you 1,000 times. And then she opened up I just got an order of my menopause daytime.
Mm-hmm.
And she politely opened it up and stuck one on her back.
Oh.
So I said, I'm telling you, Beth, it's not voodoo. If we're all taking supplements and everything, and I got a glutathione one.
Mm-hmm. Glutathione. Uh-huh.
I got one of those. I slapped that on. I don't know why. I've forgotten why, but I do it.
It's a very good anti-inflammatory.
Anyway, she finally listened to what I said. I think if you said it, she'd go, yes, Patch MD, I will, put a patch in. But if I say it, it's like, oh my gosh. But, I'm younger than her. But anyway, I wonder if they're making a zinc one.
I don't know if they have a separate
or an immune.
zinc. They do have
one.
They do have an immune patch, and they have an antiviral patch.
How do you feel about the antiviral patch?
The only thing I would say about the antiviral patch is I believe it has echinacea in it, and echinacea is great if you're sick and you're using it for a short time, but if you use it sort of chronically, it loses its benefit or effect. It's not going to hurt you. It's just that it's not as beneficial when you're using it every day for a long time. So that if that antiviral patch has echinacea, which I believe it does,
it loses the effect.
Yeah, it
of
might.
The viral
it might
part
be.
of it.
Yeah, it might be. Well, because echinacea is a really good immune support, so it's really good for acute illnesses versus everyday long-term support. If that makes sense.
Yeah, because you hear of people using echinacea during flu season, cold season. Okay, and we want to be able to tell people also to build your immune system. They need to get good sleep.
Yep.
Try to get as much sleep as you can.
Yep.
Get outside, walk, exercise, go through the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Pray, meditate. Call your friends. Stay in contact with people.
Eat a healthy diet.
A healthy diet, and eat lots of fruits and vegetables.
Yep. Absolutely. It's what we say about everything, right, Leanne?
Yes, and during this, I think in the beginning they were like, everybody get in the house and shut your mouth. But now it's like, okay, go to a go on a hike. Go outside. Get out. Walk your dogs. Do the,
Yeah. So, yeah, nature.
I'm going to have to walk this old snoring man.
Lord. Nature is very healing to get out in nature.
Augie loves nature.
Yeah.
He's not allowed in the Smoky Mountain National Park. You can't take your
That's
dogs,
right.
but I get them out and they love to cuss squirrels. It helps their immune system.
Yeah. So the immune defense does have zinc, vitamin C, vitamin D, and echinacea, green tea extract, astragalus, elderberry, lemon peel, pine bark extract. So it does, the immune defense patch does have echinacea.
Does that feel like it's a good one, Karen Nickell?
That's a good one. Again, would be really good for, especially for acute illness because of the echinacea. Yeah. So, and I think the antiviral has that as well, but people could check online, patchmd.com, for that piece of information.
Yeah, but we're big fans of, there's got a multivitamin, a menopause day, a menopause night.
Yep. They have a premenopause, or like a PMS, I should say, PMS day and PMS night patch. So lots of options there. They've added a lot more supplement options in the last year, for sure.
Yeah. And wait for the deal. There's
Yes,
always going to be a deal. Don't go and
deal.
just buy it up front.
No.
You need to wait till there's always a 40% off. There's
Buy one,
always
get one
some kind
free.
of deal. Buy one, get one free, BOGO.
Yeah.
I wait for that deal.
Yeah. Perfect
Okay,
advice.
my darling. Is there anything else you wanted
No,
to
we're going to
tell us about the mean, stupid COVID?
I'm done with that. We're going to talk about fun stuff next time. But we do want to mention our merchandise. Yeah.
Yeah. If you need a pick me up,
Yeah.
we've got masks, and people say, "Is that mask a pair of panties?"
It
No,
does.
it should be. We should make a big pair of panties, but we've got cute shirts and mugs and fun stuff and little pick me up.
Yeah.
It's fun to get something in the mail.
Yeah. So you can get that link from our Facebook page and from our website, sweatyandpissed.com. And again, the blog information's on sweatyandpissed.com. So you don't have to be jotting down all the doses of supplements. It's right there for you to look up.
One last thing.
Yeah.
I want to tell you that I have truly enjoyed my new magnesium. You told me what magnesium to get, that it had 4 kinds of magnesium in it, and I have loved it, and I got it
good.
on Amazon,
Oh, good.
and I have, I love it.
Good. Perfect.
you.
You're welcome. So glad that tip worked.
It did. Is
Yay.
that on the blog?
It is. I have it on the supplement list, I do believe.
Oh, and guess what just came in the mail when it came while I was at my little mama's. My microbiome lab,
Oh.
my gut healing. So I'm on my gut regimen. So people look at that to heal your gut what else you going to do during the COVID? You might as well get a healthy gut.
Yeah.
You need to put eyelash serum on, grow your eyelashes out, and heal your gut. Those are 2 good goals to have during the
Exactly.
COVID.
I agree. Perfect.
Okay, my darling.
It's always
All
good
right.
to
Well, I've
see
had a
you.
ball.
I have too. Take care of yourself. Everybody stay safe. Wear a mask. And we'll
Yep.
see you next week. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.